You ready?
Yes.
Something that you and I have both gone through, and this podcast inspiration, this conversation inspiration came from when I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who recently got separated from her partner. One of the things that we talked about was how when something drastic like that happens, like when you're getting divorced and you're an entrepreneur, you have a lot of fears, a lot of insecurities, and a lot of things that may or may not be true. But you have to deal with them. And as an entrepreneur, one of the things that, we don't get, a regular paycheck for showing up 9 to 5 and stuff like that. So, there's a lot of fears around that, but there's also a lot of fears that come around people looking at you a certain way. And when I got divorced, one of the things that I thought of was like, are people going to judge me? Are people going to not want to work with me because they don't think that I am loyal or faithful or committed, stuff like that? That was a fear that I had to get over and overcome and realize that the people that are going to work with me, they're going to work with me. And the people that are not going to work with me, they're not. And, I know that you've lost some business because of your divorce, and so did I. But let's get started on just talking about like what it's like to be an entrepreneur going through like a major thing like divorce, because, a lot of us have to go through it, and the fears and the insecurities are not very vastly like dissimilar from what I've, witnessed and talking with some of our friends and speaking with you.
Yeah, I feel like as an entrepreneur, to go through that initial shock of, okay, I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to get a divorce. For me, it was like playing how my life would change in my mind. It gave me more pressure, a different kind of pressure, I would say, because when you're working for yourself, commission-based, that's one kind of pressure. But then when you like separate yourself and divorce yourself from the other income that you have been used to for several years, it is very scary. Yeah, I was freaked out. I was like a part-time agent first, and I put being a mom also first. So I was just thinking about the huge life change. I would lose time with my kids. I'd gain some time to work more, which is better for that pressure and that stress that I knew I was going to have. So I was like, okay, at least I could put in more time, but then you're still grieving what you thought your life would look like at the same time. It was a lot of emotions, but I also think being an entrepreneur is an emotional thing, because working for yourself, you always have to improve yourself, and you're always assessing yourself, how you're doing things. And if you're not doing great personally, it kind of mirrors everything else and maybe blocks some things, or the opposite. Maybe it makes things better if you're doing better and taking care of yourself.
One thing that I remember when I got divorced, not even to deal with anything that's like business related, something that, I did was I cried myself to sleep for like 6 months straight. Because I went from living in a reality wherein I was putting my daughters to sleep every night and putting them in the bath before that and reading to them. And, when I didn't have that structure and I didn't have that thing to do, I felt like I was missing out, and that I was going to miss out on like everything in their lives. And, one of the things that you said was that you have more time to work. And something that I've realized over the years is you do have more time to work and commit yourself to work and be focusing your energy and your attention on work. And then when your kids are there, you have more time to be present, and you don't have to live in the world where you're like in between juggling work and kids all the time.
Yep,
and
yep.
I really love, the time I get to spend with my kids. And it's like almost like, even though it's not more time, it's more quality time.
Yeah.
So that's something I've noticed as well. But feeling the fear that people aren't going to want to work with me because of whatever they were judging me by, that was like one of the biggest like hurdles that I had to overcome. And I did have, some of, our mutual friends, or, some of, my ex-wife's friends decide that they're not going to work with me, even though we were already committed before the divorce. So that really maybe is what strict the fear into me, put the fear into me, I think is really what that did. But I kept the fear with me until I was able to free myself of it. And it took me like a year, probably at least, to get rid of that thought or that fear, that insecurity. Is that something that, have you been able to let it go completely, or are you still feeling those feels?
I think for me, it's hard because it's situation based, and I'm an emotional person. I'm very like in my thoughts and analyzing things. I still think like I lost business because of that, and maybe people feel uncomfortable, kind of like they have to choose sides. Like, who am I going to be friends with, and I made that clear with everyone, but yeah, ultimately that can't always change people's feelings, and that's okay. I'm trying my best to keep thinking like it's if people don't want to work with me, that's okay. I'm going to try to let that go and not take it personally.
One of the things that you realize when you're in this industry is that it can get very lonely.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you're feeling alone in your work life and you're feeling alone in your personal life, like it could be quite lonely of a feeling, and, feeling lonely is not fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, when those fears and those insecurities are there and you're also feeling, alone, and it's, it could be a lot. So is there anything that you would like to share or tell, like anybody who might be going through something like this, or who's maybe planning to go through a divorce, or maybe, just anybody out there who's going through anything, because, it's not just divorce. It could be anything. It could be a death to a relative, a death to a partner, an illness that is like terminal for, your significant other. So like anything you would tell anyone going through something of that measure?
I feel like a lot of things are going through my mind right now, but I think first and foremost, when I was going through like the initial shock of like, I'm going to get a divorce, I actually interviewed people that I knew. So maybe you can interview people that have gone through something and are on the other side of it, either as a kid perspective of a parent that's gone through it, or a parent, or I don't know, one of your relatives. And when I did that for the divorce, everyone told me similar things, like make sure you take care of yourself so that you could pour everything else into your kids and be healthy, because that's really what matters first. So I took it seriously, booked things on the calendar quarterly, weekly, monthly, so that I could feed it into myself, because I totally lost myself. So I know when people go through things, or before a hard thing happens, you might have already lost yourself. So always coming back to yourself is probably my number one advice, but also giving yourself grace and not being impatient, because I experienced a lot of stress and impatience with, okay, when is my divorce going to end? The attorney fees are coming up. I'm stressed. I'm already stressed about having to now take care of myself after this. So it's just like, yeah, patience, grace, and care for yourself is probably
So self-love, self-patience, and self-grace.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I would say the same thing. Something that I would like tell myself, like when I was like curled up in the fetal position crying, I would remind myself, or anybody, like, hey, this is nothing new. You've been through hardship your entire life.
Yeah.
You've gotten over everything, and this is going to be nothing different. You're going to get over this, and you're going to come out stronger and better equipped to deal with work situations, with life situations, and anything that, you're faced with. So, maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like, it's not linear of a process to get your healing done. Mm-hmm. It's a forever thing, healing. So be patient with yourself. And, you can ask anybody for any of the advice and receive that. But our healing is to each our own. So, everyone's going to be different how they overcome and do that. So, yeah, give yourself grace and be kind to yourself. And, yeah, over time and practice, you will be way stronger and way better at life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also in whatever this is for you, is finding the motivation, like why you're doing this. Because
Yes.
and like view it, like kind of like the vision of like what you want your future to look like. I actually had a really good friend of mine that's going through a tough time, and she's like, how did you do it? And I was like, it sucked. It's hard. It's emotional, but you have to picture what you want for your life. I'm getting all emotional now, but yeah, because if you can't see like what you want in the future, how can you like encourage your own self to keep pushing forward? So knowing and believing that things can get better is huge as well. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if you guys are going through a divorce, if you're going through anything at all, just know that you're not alone. Know that you will get over it. And please believe in yourself and the process. And Amber and I are here for you.
Yes, we are.
Cool. Anything else you want to say?
Nope.
Awesome. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.